What does that even mean, Bowers Game Corner?
Ahoy there, YouTube! I'm back again today for another game review. And today we're excited to check out Arena for the Gods from Yellow. This is for 2 to 6 players, ages 8 plus. It'll take about 30 minutes to play. And in Arena for the Gods, you are going to be taking control of a character. And you're going to be placed into an arena. And you're going to fight to the death. Well, until at least one person dies. But before you get started with your fighting, you are going to be bidding on a sword, a mount, a spell, and a shield. And each character is going to have their own completely different special abilities in this game. It's a very interesting game with 2 completely different phases, but are those phases good? Let's open it up, and I'll tell you what I think. Alrighty then, we're going to take a look at what you're going to get inside of Arena for the Gods. So first and foremost, we have a handy dandy rule booklet. It is 19 pages, double-sided, full color, full of pictures, illustrations, examples. It is incredibly well done. Huge thumbs up on this rule booklet. It goes over every single aspect of the game with vivid pictures, details, and the last 4, 5, 6 pages are just different variants you can play with and different map setups based on how long you want the game to be and how many players you have. So huge thumbs up on this rule booklet. So in Arena for the Gods, you're going to be taking control of a dude or a lady, and you are going to be fighting your way through the arena, trying to kill someone else in the arena. Once someone else in the arena has died, you're going to tally up who has the most blood cubes, which will be these cubes right here, which will be hiding behind your shield, and whoever has the most will be the winner of the game. Now, the game has very distinctive phases, 2 very distinctive phases, in fact. So I'm going to go over the components, then we'll get into the gameplay, but we'll do the components before we get to the different phases. So first we have the board right here. It's going to be this big hexagonal board. It's supposed to recreate a giant battlefield, and as I mentioned, you can set it up however you want to set it up. It gives you plenty of different options that you will be able to do. So I have this one set up right here, but you're going to have these little pokey things right here, which kind of act as walls. Then you're going to have actual walls. You're going to have these spike things, which will do damage to if you land on them. You're going to have these little health pools where I guess you drink blood and that helps you or something like that. But you could also use these to make the board smaller, which will make the game a little bit quicker. Also, component-wise, you're going to get these dice right here. They're all They're all 6-sided die, and they're all going to have swords on them, paw prints, shields, and the blast symbol. And I'll talk more about what those do a little bit later when we get to the second phase of the game. Each player is going to have a standee. You also get this nice little bowl to hold all the red cubes, which is completely unnecessary, but I really like it. It's got a very well-done box insert as well, so I want to give that a little bit of a shout-out. Now, the real stars of the show, in my personal opinion, are going to be these cards right here. You're going to get 4 sets of these cards. And let's just start talking about the first phase of the game. So the first phase of the game, you're going to randomly draw on as many cards as there are players in the game. So let's just say you're playing a 4-player version of the game. All these cards go out of the game. Yes, so there's an insane amount of variability in this game and huge room for potential expansions and promo cards in the future. So now what you're going to do is you're going to set out all these weapons, you're going to pass them around, and then you're going to bid on them blindly with your blood tokens. So yes, your blood tokens you're going to lose when you get hurt, but you're also going to use them during the first phase to bid on your equipment. And some equipment is obviously better than other equipment, and some equipment will really synergize well with other equipment. So let's take a look at some of the equipment. So this one, you'll spend 1 sword, one of your die face that happens to be a sword, and then you get to deal -1 cube to an adjacent hero. So this is just a cheaper version of the regular attack that everybody already gets, which is 2 swords, and then you get to do that. So that's pretty nice, and you can do this as many times as you want. So this one, you'll want to be next to people because you're going to be attacking them quite a lot. This one, you need the sword and the burst symbol, but you're going to deal -2 cubes to an adjacent hero and -2 to the heroes adjacent to him. So like kind of a lightning chain effect. It can do a lot of damage in one turn. We have Thor's hammer, which is a sword and a shield, deal -1 to adjacent heroes, and then you also give them one of these little symbols right here. Now this is a good time to introduce these symbols. So this one means that you are going to roll 1 less die on your turn, and you'll put it up here on your little screen to symbolize that on your next turn you are only going to be rolling 6 dice or 5 dice or 4 dice. And yes, I actually had a turn where I rolled 0 dice. It was very unfortunate, but I was winning, so I kind of had it coming. There's also this token right here, which means you have like a shield of aura around you, and when you get attacked, something bad will happen to your person that attacks you, or something good will happen to you, and I'll talk a little bit more about those later. So everyone's going to bid on these weapons. Now, one other thing I really like about this game is it has a really interesting bidding system where if you are tied for a particular position, then you and the other person have to work out which card you and the other person get. And if you can't do that, then it's kind of random. You're like, all right, we like these 3 cards right here. We just can't decide on which one gets which, and then you just randomly get 2. So I really like how the auctioning in this system works. So next, you'll go on to number 2, because in this battle, you're going to have a great steed that you will be riding. So this one is going to allow you to move 1 space and push an adjacent hero, and pushing people is a very viable strategy, because if you push them into a wall, or if you push them into other people, then they're both going to lose damage. They're going to lose cubes. Push an adjacent hero and move a space. Move an adjacent hero 2 spaces. So this one will allow you to move other people. We're going to move 1 space, re-roll 1 time. And the re-roll of this is very, very good as well, because that means you can re-roll as many of your dice as you want. Move 1 space and give one of those tokens we talked a little bit about earlier. So as you can see, very different animals that you'll be bidding on, and everyone is going to get one. So next we have our shields, and the shields are where you're going to start noticing that this little symbol right here, and I'll talk a little bit about this. So how this works is if you activate this, you are going to gain 1 fire shield. You put it on top of yourself, and if you get attacked, then you also gain 1 damage. So it kind of blocks that out. Makes you a lot less lucrative to attack. So this 2 swords, you're going to give 2 to an adjacent hero, 2 of these -2 dice rolls. So holy moly, that person is only going to be rolling 5 dice on their turn. Or if you happen to have 4 swords, they might only roll 3 dice on their turn. So very, very painful stuff here. Gain 1, push adjacent heroes. So you're going to be able to push people when they attack you. All sorts of various different equipment. Last but not least, we have the, I don't know what these are. What are these? Oh, those are the spells. My bad. The spells. Thematically, they're just cool stuff you get. But they're spells. This one, deal 1 cube to an adjacent hero. Give him one of those negative die roll ones. This one is going to allow you to heal. That one is incredibly powerful, but will put a huge target on your back. Switch your position with any other hero. Very, very cool one. But tons of cool spells in the game. Now, once you have auctioned off all 4 of those and everyone has a sword, a mount, a shield, and a spell, then you are going to set up your characters around the outside of the board, and you are going to start fighting and killing each other. So on your turn, you're going to roll up your dice, and you are going to take actions based on what dice you have out here. So the common actions everybody can do: 2 swords will let you deal 1 damage to adjacent hero, move 1 space for 2 of those, push an adjacent hero is for 2 shields, and then deal 1 to a hero of your choice is 2 of the blast. But you're also going to have 4 additional things you'll be able to do, which will all be on the cards right here. So you essentially will have 8 potential spells that you will be able to carry out, 8 potential things you'll be able to carry out, and you're going to then fight to the death. Once someone has died, and remember, your personal blood count is completely, no one knows, so no one's going to know exactly what your health is. Whoever has the most health at the end of the game will be the winner of Arena for the Gods. Now, there also is a bunch of other variants. There's team variants, and there's a 1 versus all variant. I like both of those variants, actually, and I'll talk more about that, the pros and cons. But that, in a nutshell, is what you're going to get inside the game. Alright, then, Arena for the Gods from Yellow. What are my final thoughts? Let's go over the pros, let's go over the cons. First, on the con side, 2 to 6 players is a good player count, but I liked it best at 4, 5, and 6 players. When you had more players, more stuff going on, I just thought it was a better game at that point. Now, that being said, it's not bad at 3 players. I actually still kind of dug it at 3 players. 2 players, though, I would pass on this one. Another comment I have with this game is when you're first starting the game, that auction phase is very difficult to try and figure out how much you should and should not bid. And they even recommend just starting with preset cards. It's like, oh, these are the cards you should get, and everybody should just get these cards. But honestly, that kind of takes the fun out of the game, because in my personal opinion, bidding on those cards is the most fun part of the game. Yes, the arena part is enjoyable, but just the bidding on the cards and creating your own character to begin a game is really cool. But that's another con. I kind of wish that there was a little bit more character creation. I would have liked to see maybe another 2 rounds to the auction, 1 or 2 rounds to the auction where you're customizing your character even more. And I think that's probably going to be something they do in the future if this gets popular, which I really hope it does. But yeah, we'll talk more about that in the pros. Anything else on the con side? It's pretty light and simple. It's a 30-minute game, and I'd say it takes round about that amount of time, depending on your players and whatnot, especially when everybody knows what they're doing. And I think one thing a lot of people are not going to like is the fact that you won't be able to see other people's health. So it's kind of, you're just stabbing wildly and then trying to remember who's taken the most damage. And at that point, it does become a little bit of a memory aspect, where if someone has a really good memory, they're like counting up, like, oh, they've lost 4 cubes, they've lost 2 cubes, 6 cubes. You can kind of figure out exactly how many cubes people have. And I played with one person who literally did their best to try and count exactly how many cubes people lost during the game, during the bidding phase, and during the attack phase. I think this was a 4-player game. And they ended up winning because they knew exactly who to attack, because they knew pretty much exactly how much help everyone had. So there is somewhat of a weird card counting aspect of this game, blood counting aspect of this game, which might be a turnoff to some people if you play with people like that. But that's a really kind of weird, honestly, nitpick. Any other cons I have with the game? No, moving on to the pros, I really enjoy this game, and I definitely can recommend this game. I think it's good enough to play it as a game night game. I think it's good enough to play as a family game, and I think it's, well, it's not a gateway game. I think it's a gateway plus game, because the concepts in the game are relatively simple. You're bidding on stuff at the beginning, and those give you special abilities that you'll be able to use with the dice. I like that aspect a lot. I liked how there were lots of different variants. Each game felt a little bit different based on how you set up the board, or based on which cards you got. You can make a drastically different character that's all about ranged damage, or you can have somebody who's just flying around the board and going in and going out and pushing people up against walls. And I loved that aspect of the game. I loved how variable each game felt from game to game to game, because as I mentioned, you're only going to be using a small portion of the cards in the game, and which card you have is going to completely change how your character plays, and I liked that an awful lot. I think the obvious comparison a lot of people are going to make with this game is to King of Tokyo, and I still like King of Tokyo better. I just felt that it was like a more clean design, and I just thought, I don't know, it's easier to teach. But that being said, I really enjoyed this. It's got a space on my shelf. It definitely is. I can't wait to see what they do in the future. I'm hoping maybe they add another auction phase. I'm hoping for more promo cards, for more things in the arena, like maybe things that explode and knock people back. Literally, the sky is the limit for what they could add to this game to the future. It feels like it's a very, I don't know, I just feel like in 10 years, if they continue to push stuff out for this game could be drastically different, and I would love to see even a bigger board and lots of cool stuff. The one versus all is neat, the team variant is neat, and just overall, Arena for the Gods. This is one of those ones that I did an interview with them, and I was like, I really like that game. That sounds super stinking cool, and everybody I played it with has pretty much agreed it's super stinking cool. So Arena for the Gods from Yellow, one I can highly recommend. It's not quite King of Tokyo level, but that's one of my favorite games of all time. Still a rock-solid game, a lot of fun as a family game, and a lot of fun as a game night game, which is obviously a good thing to be able to do both of those. If you enjoyed this review, please be sure to click on that subscribe button down below in the comments below. Let me know which of the Hangover movies is your favorite. For me personally, I really love 1, but I think Hangover 2 is still a better movie. Now, Hangover 1 I think is a little bit more quotable, but Hangover 2 I still think is a better movie. Let me know in the comments below which of the Hangovers is your favorite, and as always, thanks for your time, YouTube.